What if there was a TV show that hooked adults, was appropriate for kids, and both of you looked forward to watching together every week?
Well, now there is.
It's called The Wingfeather Saga, a best-selling fantasy book series
That 8,000 families made into a record-breaking animated series. And now we need your help to fund Season 2 and beyond.
The Wingfeather Saga is epic like Lord of the Rings, witty like The Princess Bride, and full of truth like The Chronicles of Narnia.
And thanks to funding from people like you, we were able to hire a team of over 70 incredible artists with experience at studios like DreamWorks, Pixar, Valve, and others to join executive producer J. Chris Paul.
Hey, who worked on the global hit VeggieTales for over a decade and was a producer at DreamWorks Animation. Andrew Peterson is the other executive producer. He wrote the book, so we were like, I guess you can be involved.
Thanks for inviting me. Not only did I write the books, but I've been involved in the show's writing and in the animation process just to make sure that the magic that is in the books makes its way onto your family's screens. Oh, I think I lost somebody there.
So if you want to help create a TV series that shows families are stronger together rather than apart, invest in the Wingfeather Saga today.
And yeah, I changed my accent. Get over it. Investing in the Wingfeather Saga means you'll be getting in incredibly early on what could be the next smash hit fantasy series. Imagine investing in Harry Potter before the movies came out. And the toys and the costumes and the video games, the theme parks, and oh my goodness, that's a lot of money. We hope Wingfeather goes global, and if it does, there may never be another chance to invest again. Season 2 is where the world of Wingfeather really takes off. Plus, the books have over 15,000 reviews, with an average of 4.8 stars.
Here are just some of the thousands of 5-star reviews of the Wingfeather Saga. Book 2 really grabbed me into wanting to read more.
Andrew Peterson has mastered the combination of humor, suspense, and depth of meaning.
Each book kept getting better until its powerful conclusion.
That's why we want to bring you Season 2 as quickly as possible.
Now, this isn't some amateur Kickstarter by a bunch of hipsters.
We've partnered with Angel Studios, who has helped filmmakers crowdfund over $30 million. And investing in Wingfeather through the Angel funding platform is unique.
Because audiences become owners of the show and share in the profits. So if you want an epic TV series without disrobed damsels and dismembered dudes, invest in the Wingfeather Saga today. As with any investment, you should only invest as much as you're willing to lose. The phrase family friendly usually means content that is friendly for kids and stupid for adults. But not anymore. There once was a show of fantasy, an epic show for the family, a TV series kids enjoy that won't drive parents insane. Invest now in Wingfeather, your family will thank you forever. And the show's really clever, you can watch the short film now. Now click on the link and help us to create Wingfeather Season 2. We just can't make it without you, so let's get started now. Na 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 da 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 da.
Hey everybody, Chris Wall here.
Hey,
nice to see you.
Andrew Peterson here. Nice to see everybody.
That's right, and we are scattered. So I am here in Nashville. Andrew is still over in the UK, right?
I am. We're coming home very soon, but yes, we're finishing up this time here.
Andrew, is there anything you've been craving since you've been away from home? Is there, is there a home cooked meal that you're looking forward to?
Mexican food. Mexican food. That is. They don't know how to do Mexican food over here, man. No, it's too far from Mexico. I don't know what it is. They have really good curry, a lot like a very international thing, but whenever you get Mexican food, you're kind of like, no, it's not the same. So that's, my wife and I have talked a lot about how we can't wait to get home and get some chips and salsa that tastes correct.
Fantastic. So if you don't know us, I am the executive producer of our animated series. Andrew is the author and the other executive producer. We represent just an awesome team of people, artists, managers, just great technicians, people helping to bring the series to life. And we're so excited to have a little bit of time with you today. We have a bunch of cool stuff to show you, but I want to kind of give a quick update on what's been happening since we last talked, I guess. So if you missed our last live stream, we were doing answering some of those really hard fan questions. We're going to do some more of those today. So if you sent one in and didn't see yourself, hopefully you'll see yourself today. Last week, we had some surprise guests in there too. So if you missed it, definitely go check that out on our YouTube page. If you've not subscribed and done the follow and hit notifications on our YouTube channel, please do so. We're hoping to continue to grow that audience. It's a place we're going to be giving you more and more insight to the production and to the series as it launches. Speaking of launching, Andrew, last week, we highlighted the fact that we know now when episode 1 is launching, which is December 2nd. And then we announced episode 2 is coming December 16th. And there it is, a mysterious map. Andrew,
I wonder what that one's going to be about.
It's funny because the map shows up in episode 2, but folks that watch the short film are going to be like, wait a minute. Oh, actually, Andrew, let's talk about that. So I've had a number of people asking me about the short film. Do I need to go watch the short film, our little pilot thing that we made back in 2017? Do I need to get myself briefed before season 1? And what's our answer?
No. The answer is no. We are starting fresh. We're pushing reset on the whole thing. And so, the point of the short film that we made was to see if this whole thing would work, right? And so we were testing the kind of animation that we were going to try to use, We were going to see if the audience was excited about this particular kind of story, and got green lights all the way along. But it was really fun to kind of like take everything that we learned from that first short film and then give it a new kind of a new paint job for this one. But story wise, you should be able to start fresh. Same thing with the books. Just dive into book one. I would just recommend reading all of the books before you watch episode one. But yeah, the whole idea is this is for people who have, this is an introduction to the world of Aerwiar and to the story of the Igby family. And so, yeah, December 2nd is your day.
Yep, there it is. And then December 16th, episode 2, we'll announce the other episodes as we go. There's 6 episodes in season 1. The other thing to talk about here is we currently in production. Let's kind of get a quick production update. Andrew, I just got to see last night, actually, almost all the final shots, at least a draft 1 from episode 1. And it was the funniest thing.
You need to send me that link.
You know, I was going through it, and Calvin and Elijah walked through the room, and they're like, "Whoa, what's that, Dad?" And like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" And it was like the scene with Tanner at the beginning of the episode. And dude, it's so cool. Oh my gosh,
I can't wait.
So yeah, so folks, we are so excited to bring you season 1, and it is well on its way. At the moment, we open up a funding campaign for season 2 and beyond, right? And so right now, if you go to angel.com/wingfeather, you'll see this campaign is live. We're very near our base goal of 1.5. We're trying to earn 1.5 million, which would pay for pre-production of season 2, and that would keep us moving along, right? And I know season 1 isn't out yet, so how are we doing this? Well, we want to tell the whole story of the Wingfeather Saga. There's 4 novels that Andrew wrote that we love. We structured this out for 7 seasons. And with your support, we can make it happen. And what's that look like? Well, people ask me this a lot. When you come support us, you're actually right now able to buy shares in our company. So you're attached to the series for its whole existence. Isn't that amazing? And so if the series goes out and is successful all around the world, which we're having all these conversations about people that maybe would be interested in other territories, then you're a part of that. All the cool merch we're going to make, all that kind of fun stuff. So in that, we actually have made this really cool thing. I wanted a way to like visualize this. And so this is a share in our company. So we made this really fun graphic that shows you kind of what it looks like to hold a share in our company. And so it's Toothy Cow Productions is the name of the production company, because that's awesome. And then here is this little share. It says, it's in cursive, so it's hard to read. This is to certify that whoever your name is entitled to however many shares you bought to help bring the Wingfeather Saga to the screen. It's issued by the Bank of Glipwood, undersigned by Mayor Blagus, and then very roughly Commander Norm. He's got terrible handwriting. He's just got.
Oh, that's so good. I love that.
So, and of course, the big old toothy cow at the top. This is absolutely ridiculous, but these are gonna go out to all of our investors who have come alongside us, and it's been the coolest thing. You know, Andrew, at the beginning of this thing, we talked about, you know, if people came in and bought some shares in the company, we could have like 15 to 20,000 people that would be a part of our story. And so far, I think at the moment, we're closing in on almost 10,000 people that have bought shares. And I know stories, I'm sure you've heard them too, of kids doing lemonade stands and buying shares in the company and saying, I own part of Wingfeather Saga. And some people, there's some perks out there. Some people are going to get their names in the credits. Some people are going to get to attend the red carpet premiere coming up here in Nashville. That's going to be super cool. There's all kinds of really cool things. So anyways, angel.com/wingfeather. We would love your support. If you've already invested with us, awesome. Thank you. You're in, and we're so glad you're supporting what we're doing here. We're making a very distinctive story. There are lots of animated series out there. There are lots of things your family can enjoy. We are thrilled to be a part of bringing this story, which is this wonderful fantasy that has feelings of Narnia and a bit of Lord of the Rings and Princess Bride in it. And we're bringing this to the screen with your help. Now, if you know somebody who might be interested, tell them about our story. Word of mouth is a lot, right, Andrew? I mean, I think you're the same, right? Someone telling you, hey, check this thing out is very different than just seeing an internet ad or an email.
Oh yeah, that's how it works. I mean, starting with a music career for all those years ago, it was like nothing a marketing team could come up with sitting around a conference room table can compete with people who are passionate about something and want their friends to know about it. So yeah, so please let your friends know and your community know about it, and join the story. We're kind of I don't know, it's been a wild ride so far. So we're so thankful for everybody.
It really has. And the books themselves are that way. Like, we hear overwhelmingly that people find these awesome books and read them because somebody told them about them. And it's like, hey, check these books out. They're awesome. And that just keeps happening. These things have done very well over the last year. Lots of people are reading them now, Andrew, and it's super exciting. This funding round is our second round. We don't know if we'll do another one, but this was one that we wanted to open. It will close on the 31st. So next Wednesday, we're done with this round. That's how this works. If you know people that were thinking about it, or you're thinking about it, jump in, because you've got coming on 6 days left to do that, and it'll close and we'll be done, and we're going to move on. Speaking of moving on, Andrew, we have made some cool shirts. So if you go over to wingfeathersaga.com/store and you want to pick up one of these cool shirts, you can do so. This one's been very popular, the most popular, Andrew, the blue one, with Lily and the Dragon. And then we also have a fantastic Beware the Toothy Cow shirt. That's super cool. And then we also have this really cool one of the kids running through the woods here, the green one. So anyways, these are out at our store. Here's the deal. Every time you go buy a shirt, you're also supporting our show. So that's cool. But I've had some people ask me, Andrew, okay, those shirts are cool. What else you got? So our team's been hard at work coming up with other cool things. We always are open to suggestions you have about stuff we should make. So if you think there's something we should make, hit us in the comments with like, oh, can I see this? But today we are going to tease some upcoming merch that we're going to release very soon, hopefully in September here. And that begins with another new t-shirt. So let's show that.
Yay!
All right. Hey. Okay, so this is the first time we get the characters on the shirt. So we got the three kids with Slarb menacing over their shoulder, and of course encircled by Jurgen, the sea dragon. So that's one we are looking to. These are all concepts. So we'd love to hear the comments from you. Do you love this shirt? Do you not love it? It's kind of a flecked heather color there. This is one that we're excited about making. In addition to this, we've heard quite a lot from people saying, yeah, I love shirts, but we also want to kind of wear something simpler, right? Not so bold with the characters. So we've got this one going. Just the cool new logo that we've worked on, it's a little more handcrafted, beaten up. So that's one we're considering. And we know we're all back to school, and we thought, wouldn't it be cool, make some tote bags? So tote bags, Andrew, tote bags. Which I think in the UK, there's probably more tote bags, but we thought we'd line this with our logo, a little toothy cow bag, and then, of course, the logo. So, and then a cool dark bag if you're not into light colored. So that's some ideas. The other idea we had is some cool collectible pins. So these are ones that could be thrown on a backpack, could be thrown on, a shoulder bag, whatever. And so we're going to do a little set of pins. These are some icons that our team has worked on. It's a mixture of people, but like Christopher has worked on some of these, and there's some cool stuff. So that's one. And then, of course, it's the fall. So everybody's asked, and we think there should be a hoodie. So this is one we're thinking about. We'd love to hear your comments. Do you like it? What do you love about it? Anything you'd want to see different? But that's a hoodie that we're looking at as well. So, yeah, more merch coming.
It's very cool stuff. I love it. It keeps getting me closer and closer to wanting to break my don't wear your own merch rule, because the shirts are so cool. They're so cool.
I'm going to catch you wearing a hoodie at one point. So, again, every time you go support us by buying some merch, that kind of thing, it's helping to make the show. That's how it works. We're making all this stuff directly so that anything that we earn off of it can go back into making more episodes. So we want to keep the journey moving along, and the more that we can put to use here with our crew, the more crew we can have working on season 2 and going faster. So at the moment, Andrew, I think we talked about this, but we are looking at season 2 in the fall of next year, being able to premiere. Now that will depend on how the rest of this funding goes, and how merch sales go, things like that. It's just real transparent. It's kind of cool, guys, to be in a business like this where we get to be really open with you about like, hey, you see our numbers. If we're hitting it, we're getting it done. The other series that many of you know on this platform, Angel Studios, is The Chosen, which has done a lot of the same stuff. And so you're going to start to see more and more visuals from us of like, hey, here's how it's going. We've got episode 1 funded. We've got part of episode 2 funded, right? And we just kind of can tell you along the journey how we're doing, and you can be a part of that. So anyway, so this funding round is open, closes on Wednesday. Love to have you be a part if that's something you want to do. All right. I think that is the majority of the news from this last week, Andrew, and I think it's time to turn to these questions.
Questions.
Last time, we're going to try to be really careful to not do spoilers, and Andrew and I are doing our best to not spoil if you haven't read the books and you're like, dude, I don't want to spoil. So we're just going to tell you about what we can as we answer these questions. But these are real questions from real fans. Now, some of them, as you saw last week, some of you, we had some written in ones that various members of our staff actually read so we could have video. So you'll see a mix of that today. But I think we're ready. Let's dive in and get our first question. What do we got here?
Hi, I'm Chloe, and the Kate Hooper asks, which Igby child is your personal favorite and why?
Hey, Chloe. Chloe was our first intern. She sat at that desk right over there. She's at Texas A&M, and she now works for us while still going to school. But yeah, Andrew, who's your first character? Who's your favorite character and why?
Well, did she say of the kids? Which is of the kids is my favorite character? I cannot answer that question because it feels like if one of them found out, then it would be really damaging to their psyches. So it depends on the day, man. There are days when I just really love Janner and his whole story. There are days when I kind of think, oh yeah, Janner is the most like me. And then other days I'll think, oh nope, Kalmar is the most like me. And then, Lily will do something. So it just kind of depends on what I have for breakfast. I don't really know. I like them all. I love them all, I would say, in that weird authory way that you can love made up people.
Yeah, that's a real author-parent answer. So I'm going to go more to the point and say I remember reading the series and not liking Janner. And I didn't like him because he was so many parts of myself that I didn't like, right? And then, of course, I did grow to love him because of choices that he made that I just went, oh, that guy. I think my favorite character is interesting. I'm coming to know them differently. I'm sure you are, Andrew, as we're making the series because they are different. They have different they have voices now. It's like a whole different thing. And at the moment, Tink is really just getting me. He's really amazing. But I do love all 3 kids. Lily is so precious. I have 6 children, for those of you who don't know, 3 boys, 3 girls, and so many of their behaviors align with my own kids. And so it's a lot of like you're saying, like a parent, like, I don't know if I could choose a favorite, but yeah.
Yeah. One thing that's been very interesting, not to keep harping on it, but the knowing where the story's going changes the way that I see them now, like when I see Lily, well, any of the 3 kids, and I kind of go, oh my goodness. And I know the journey that they're going to go on over the course of this whole thing. My heart kind of like aches a little bit for them. And I just want to be like, it's going to be okay. You guys are going to make it, don't worry. But it's an interesting that, like, when I was writing the books, I didn't have the luxury of knowing them as their whole story so intimately. And so starting fresh in book 1 and kind of going, oh man, this is going to be a ride that these kids are about to go on. It kind of makes my heart kind of reach for them a little bit,
Mm-hmm. Good point. All right, let's see another question here.
Hey, Joseph Part of the Second here. I was wondering, which books in the Wingfeather Saga are going to be spread out through several seasons? Because from what I'm seeing, season 1's going to be book 1, season 2 is going to be book 2. Are 3 and 4 going to be the books that are spread out through 7 seasons? Thank you for taking my question. To the cow plush.
I'm sure
that's good.
Right now, boy, you got something on your head.
Toothy cow plush, I like it. Subliminal messaging. So yeah, I mean, you can answer this one or I can answer this one. So book season 2 does not quite cover all of Northrop Eden, and after that, the dividing lines just kind of get not arbitrary, but there's some like the remainder of the series is broken up kind of randomly almost between the rest of them. But yeah, so season 2 is not all of book 2. There's a pretty clear climax that season 2 is going to aim for. So it's not, we have it all broken down, but it's not a clean, simple answer, if that makes sense. As Chris has pointed out several times, like each book gets a little longer. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They get longer. And so here's North, and I'm peering at the chapters. It's interesting because it's not going to follow, like season 2 doesn't go to like a point, because you've threaded this story, Andrew, in the novel, and we're kind of tracking one particular story through to a certain spot. And I will say this is somewhere around chapter 48 or so, somewhere in that territory is where we're going to take season 2. So 7 episodes in season 2, and then we're going to break that into, and then it becomes this is really interesting. But on the Angel Studios platform, where we're premiering the show, we really want to help pull you guys through in a serialized way, which is where a chapter finishes and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to have the next chapter, which is also the way that Andrew wrote the books. And so we want to do episode by episode, like, oh my gosh, let's keep going. And that also involves the seasons, that when season 1 ends, Andrew, I think we can say this concretely, you're going to want season 2. You're going to want season 2 because it hooks so hard into like setting up what's about to happen in season 2. When season 2 finishes, you're going to really want to be a part of season 3. Like it's just the stories kind of weave. So we answer questions and we ask more questions, right? And that's a kind of serialized storytelling we're talking about. You guys have all watched this in other shows, so we're similar. And that season to season break is figuring out what is the arc, what is the narrative arc. I start the story here and I finish it here. It got to be satisfying. I don't want it to be all cliffhangery. That's kind of annoying. And so there's a break. If you kind of map through books 3 and 4, there's some breaks in there that make some natural rhythms where you can kind of break out to our 7 seasons that we want to tell in total.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do another question, shall we?
Hello. I am insert name here. At Ocean Birdie asks, will there be any major changes from book to screen? Well, there's going to be a lot more visual. Oh, I'm not supposed to answer. I just ask.
How is he real? That you guys is Doug McKelvey, also known as Douglas Kane McKelvey, who is the author of one of the best books in the world, I think, called Every Moment Holy. There's actually 2 of them, Every Moment Holy. And they're these amazingly theologically profound liturgical books. And so it's such a shock to see a guy who is capable of that kind of like high language and poetry. He's also one of the screenwriters for the Wingfeather Saga, and he's a novelist, and he is hilarious. And so that was Doug McKelvey. I don't even remember the question. I was just so fascinated by his hat. What was the question?
Oh man, what sort of questions? Well, I think we should watch it again. No, what sort of changes will there be, and any we want to note as we go from book 1, which is really season 1, to the screen? One of the questions I actually have that would frame this, Andrew, you can answer is: are there any moments where, like Lord of the Rings, some things that have been dropped that you're like, yeah, we didn't include that as part of what we're doing? Are there?
Let me think about that. I can't, not so far. There haven't been any like Tom Bombadil things, like where it's like this big part of the story that just kind of doesn't work in a movie. Like we've had to, shuffle some things around, timeline wise and character wise. There's a little bit of shuffling that happens, but nothing drastic. I mean, some of the battle scenes, like we've been able to expound them or expand them a little bit and create a little more drama here or there. I will say, can you think of anything? Is there anything to talk
about? Nothing. Well, okay. There is a thing we talk about in storytelling called shoe leather, where you just had to track a character to and fro a certain location or a certain thing. And what we found in the books is, as you laid it out in visual form, there was a fair amount of to and froing from the house to town, Inkeljelly Manor to town. There was still a lot of to and froing that we were like, what can we do to economize this? Because it got a little ping-pongy. And so there's some consolidation of movement. And there's some new things that we've introduced about what characters learn and where they go and some things like that. I would say there's a scene in particular, Andrew, I'm thinking about with Nia and the kids. The kids in the novel get in jail and back out and then in jail again. There's a bit of a sequence there that we're reducing. I mean, I guess that's just to put it,
Which, interestingly, one of the big critiques with my editor for book 1 was that there was even more of that kind of ping-ponging back and forth. They're here, they spend a few days doing whatever, and then they go back. And I remember when I wrote the books, the scene where the kids kind of, I don't want to spoil anything. Let me think about this. I don't think it spoils anything. Where the kids see that the barn is on fire. I took out 2 or 3 of those ping-ponging they traveled from here to there and just got rid of a lot of that and smashed it all together into what is now book 1. And it's amazing to me that we had to do that even more to cram the story. And I think some of that is just the way books work. You have the luxury in a book to let time pass. And that just doesn't work visually.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many other little bits that I don't want to talk about, but there's other changes that are additions or extra flourishes. But I think that largely people can expect that what they read in this first book is what they're going to experience when they watch our season 1.
Yeah.
So
it'll be very interesting after the season comes out to see which parts people were like, "Oh, you changed that," or "Thank goodness you got that right." I just can't wait. I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm not I'm so confident that what we've come up with is so good that I don't think anybody's going to really mind. There may be some purists out there who are kind of like, "Oh, I can't believe they blah blah blah," but that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah. Cool. All right, next question.
Hi, my name is Dusty Glassford. My question is, are any of the footnotes going to be in any scenes or dialogue?
That is great. Love your shirt. Thanks, man.
Yes, very nice. Very nice. The answer is yes. There are going to be footnotes. I know because I know the guy who's playing Oscar Nostratip, and I feel like he ends up being like the deliverer of a lot of the footnotes, or he fills the space that the footnotes fill in the first book. There's actually a lot more books get referenced than are in the books, than the actual books. There are authors that Doug McKelvey, who you just saw, and the other guys, the other people who are writing the script, just went to town and made up even more strange names and books and quotes and that kind of thing. So yes, that the equivalent of footnotes will be in there.
Yeah, we have not carried forward the way that we did footnotes in the short film pilot. So what we found after doing that was it kind of stopped the narrative, you shriek and did this little footnote, and it was a little too disruptive, and so we've opted to deliver similar information differently. Let's put it that way. So you'll get to see it when the episodes come out.
Good.
Cool. Next question.
Hi guys, my name is Kayla, and I just wanted to start this off by saying that I love the Wingfeather Saga so much. It has become one of my favorite series, and the show is looking amazing so far. I'm so excited to watch it. Do you guys have a favorite episode in season 1, and why is it your favorite? And then also, I'm just curious if there are any more changes between the first book and the first season that you would be willing to disclose. It's looking amazing, you guys. Thanks again for being willing to take our questions, and I hope you have a great day.
Yay. Thank you. That's so awesome.
Favorite episode?
What was the first part of the... Oh, favorite episode. Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll just say that when we have been doing all the storyboarding and animatics and scripting and all that kind of stuff, episode 6, this feels like kind of an easy answer, but the climax of the season, there are so many things that have happened in the script, and then in storyboard, and then in animatic, that I'm just like, I cannot believe I'm going to see these things in the actual show. You know what I'm talking about, Chris? There's so many moments that, like, from the like there in the writing room at the very, very beginning of the process, when the writers were all in there and they kind of pitched the episodes, and they were like, yeah, this will be happening, and then this kind of music is what we imagine. And we were sitting there getting emotional just listening to them to describe it, and then to see that in the script and then the story. But, like, you know, we haven't gotten into animation on episode 6 yet, but that's the one that I'm just like, I can't wait. It's like, please. I'm giddy about watching that whole thing happen. So for me, it's episode 6 all the way.
For me, it's episode 3, though close second is episode 2. Episode 6 is like a whole different experience for me emotionally, because it is the finish of season 1, and it landed really hard, and it makes me emotional. But in the storytelling, episode 3 is where the world shifts. You know, you love those episodes where it's like you're getting familiar with characters, getting familiar with the world they live in, and then something happens, right? And it's like, whoa, things are different. That is something that's different, to your second question, Kayla, from the books, is that there's a more significant pivot moment that we wanted to create agency for the characters, that, like, they have to respond to and be involved in what's going to happen next. That's probably the most significant change we've made, is getting Janner, Tink, and Lily involved in trying to do things in the world, rather than some of the things just happening to them and they kind of have to move along with it. So, episode 3. Episode 2 is also right behind that, because it's this fun and games episode. I love fun and games episodes where characters, it's fun. We're advancing some plot, but we're mostly just having fun with the characters. And so that's when they're playing the Zibsy game. Oh, which comes out on December 16th. Thank you, Ryan. That's great. Yeah.
And there's a mysterious map in that episode, I'm pretty sure.
And there. Mm-hmm. Great. All right, next question.
Hi! We just wanted to ask a few questions about the upcoming season 1 of the Wingfeather Saga.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. First of all, I want to ask, is there going to be more than one song in the Wingfeather Saga?
Hi, my name is Lexi. I wanted to know if it's not only going to be released in English, but if it's going to be released in multiple languages maybe in the future.
Hi, I'm Star, and I wanted to ask, how often will the episodes be released?
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah,
what a cool idea.
You are winning with the video question. Oh my gosh. Thank you, girls.
I love that so much. Whoever's drawing is good.
They had our music in there. They had drawings. That was a lot. It was incredible.
Yeah.
The song was the first question.
There will be the first one was songs. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Was that what you said? Yes, there are a couple of songs. No, 3 songs that I can think of in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song that Armelin the Bard sings that I wrote for episode 1. And then I'm not going to give away the last one. The other one is the Jurgens tune, which Lily sings on the cliffs. And then the last one is kind of a surprise. So I'm not going to say. But yes, I imagine that there will be plenty of music. Music is like a main character almost in the whole series. And so, yes, there will definitely be songs. What was the second question?
Yeah, but and on the song thing, there's also songs that are non-lyric songs. So we have some songs that are being played in the world that we've had fun, like some stuff that Lily plays on her whistle harp and stuff. That is not, a song with lyrics, but it's still a song nonetheless. Second question is, are there other languages? Yes, as a matter of fact, we are actually talking about when does the dubbing start. They call it dubbing when you go put other languages in, because we have other places in the world that would love to enjoy this story, and we know that the Wingfeather Saga books themselves have been translated into lots of languages and would also like to be fans of the series. So yeah, that's going to happen. And then the last question was on the release, and so we're going to release our full schedule as we go. We're as you saw, we've got episodes 1 and 2 announced, and they are 2 weeks apart for those first 2. We are going to take a break for Christmas. So just so you can tell, December 2nd, then December 16th for chapter 2. And then we're going to take a little break at Christmas and come back in January. And we'll tell you what that release schedule is very soon. Some of that honestly has to do with production. Our team is working so hard to bring these episodes to you, and we want to make sure that we know exactly when those are going to be available, so we don't put out a date that we have to change. That'd be a bum deal. But every other week, something like that. All right.
Yeah.
Next question.
Andrew, hey, Dave Barnes here, longtime listener, first time caller. I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. So the question I have, which, as you know, I love the books. I love them so much. When you started out, I know you don't know the whole way it's going to go over all the books, but did you have any idea how it was going to end? Like any vague clue? Did you sort of like beginning of the first book go, I just know we're eventually going to get to this place? Or as you wrote them, especially the last book, did you kind of go, oh, this is the way it's got to end? I'm going to hang up and listen.
Dave Barnes, everybody.
Oh man, this is so fun. Like, I love that you guys like farm these questions out to these people. Dave Barnes, my goodness, he's just one of the best. So if you guys don't know Dave Barnes' music, you need to know his music. He is a fantastic singer-songwriter. He also is a stand-up comedian, which is a rare combo. But man, his Instagram page is just hilarious. And so he's one of the few people in the world that can make my wife laugh like at the drop of a hat. So I love Dave Barnes. And he actually, just a little factoid, Dave, I would text him when I was writing these books. I would text him from time to time and say, hey, I need a crazy name. Do you have a good name? And he would shoot me right back with some hilarious word or whatever. I'm pretty sure, I can't think of one of them right now. I'll think of it later. Anyway, he's the source of some of the good, funny words and names in the series. So, Dave, to answer your question, there were certain things that I suspected would happen when I first started writing the books, and those things ended up actually happening. There were other things that I did not see coming at all, particularly the big reveal in book 3 that I'm not going to describe, but there's a moment in book 3 where I realized who someone was, and I just was so shocked by it. I didn't see it coming. I was kind of, emotional when I realized, and it was weird. It's like, it sounds funny as an author to say, like, yes, I realized that this character that I was writing was fill in the blank. But that's how it works, man. It was just crazy. The story would suggest itself to me. And then I'll say at the end that by the time I got to book 4, I was pretty sure how the end of book 4 was going to go. And it went that way, except the opposite of what I thought. And that's all I'm going to say. So yes, there are parts of the book that really felt like, oh man, I can't wait to tell everybody this part of the story. And then other parts, my favorite parts of the book were the parts that surprised me.
So in our vantage, Dave, to answer your question, which you did not ask me, but I'm going to answer it anyways, we have the advantage of knowing the story. So from a screenwriting and what we're doing in the animated series, our team refers to these books a lot and knows where we're going, which is actually quite useful because we know exactly the decision that so-and-so will make at this point in their journey. That means we can come back to here and establish them this way, right, to set them up for that choice in a little more transparent and kind of interesting, kind of knowing the twists and turns they're going to make to that journey way. So we definitely are starting with the end in mind as we're working on that. Yep. Cool. Next question.
Hi, Angie Peterson and Chris Wall. So, I have 2 questions today, and my first question is, will only season 1 be on YouTube like The Chosen was? And my second question was, when will you be holding auditions for season 2? Those are my questions. Bye!
That's awesome.
Oh, good questions.
Yeah. So much like Chosen did, we will have it out on YouTube as a place that will premiere. But we're very quickly, it'll only be on there for a short time. We're very quickly going to have it over in the Angel Studios app. So if you haven't seen this thing, they have a really cool app that's available on your phone and on your TV, Apple TV, Roku, that sort of thing. And so you can get the Angel Studios app, and you can watch our show. But we'll start on YouTube, again, like other shows have done, as a means to introduce the widest audience possible. And then we're going to offer some really cool other bonus content over in the app. So, yeah, it's a good question. Auditions. We will likely do another round. The first round of auditions generated so many people that we got to listen to, and some of those got cast. We have a fun video coming up soon that's going to introduce you to some of that cast that are some supporting characters that we haven't announced yet, that are eager fans that got to be a part of the journey with us. So that's coming up soon. But we'll see. Season 2, probably sometime this fall, I would say, is when that timing's going to hit. Yeah, good question. All right, next video. This is a cat thing with the iPad. Will Wingfeather Tales be incorporated into season 1? I don't know, Andrew. Wingfeather Tales?
Particularly the places beyond the maps. Did it ask about season 1 in particular?
Just Wingfeather Tales. Will it be a part of that? Not in season 1 at all.
Right. Yeah. Definitely not season 1. That remains to be seen. There is possible that some elements from Wingfeather Tales could make their way into the story. Yeah.
I will say the team here has read Wingfeather Tales a couple times to gain insight, like as we thought about Ankle-Jelly Manor, and to make sure that Ankle-Jelly Manor, which is in the story of the wooing of Sophia Stoop, is referenced in a similar way, right? That story tells a bit about Ankle-Jelly when it was in its prime. And of course, we get to see it in season 1 when it's quite derelict. So yeah, Wingfeather Tales, like anything else, certainly can inform some things in what we're doing right away. But no direct stories out of that just yet. Good questions, though. All right. Next question. What you got?
Hi, I'm David, and Kay Road and Sky Snapple ask, our question about season 1 is how much of which books will it cover? We love to read before watching, taking turns reading them in our house, and the youngest hasn't finished book 1 yet. Is it going to be finishing book 1, or will it be split up?
Thanks, David. That's reading it with some zeal right there. David is production coordinator with our layout and our assembly team, doing all our Unreal Engine work. He's awesome. Thank you, David. So we've already answered this a couple times now, but yes, it is the entirety of book 1, not part of book 2. It's all book 1 is going to take us through in that pattern. So yeah, good question. All right, next question.
Hi guys, Rebecca here, and there's a question that needs answering. So at Socially Quackward ask, can you tell us more about the soundtrack? Will you be bringing back Isaac Horn, Lincoln Mick, and Sarah Wood to sing more songs like Jurgen's tune?
Aww. Hey, Rebecca.
Oh,
Rebecca
man.
is our coordinator on the story department and does awesome work and post. And we'll talk about the music. There's a live stream with music, so you should definitely go find that live stream, folks, that introduces you to the team that's making the music for season 1 of Wingfeather. And Andrew, who does that include?
That includes none other than Arcadian Wild, which is Lincoln Mick and Isaac Horn. Sarah is no longer in the band, but Bailey, who plays with them, I'm pretty sure sang part of Jurgen's tune. Anyway, some configuration of Arcadian Wild has been very involved, but also the amazing Kurt Heinecke, who's just kind of a musical genius who worked on all the big idea stuff over the years and on the short film. And then my dear friend, Mr. Ben Shive, is the producer, and he has just been, he's there's nobody on earth that I trust more from a musical standpoint than Ben. And so we have a power team, this amazing team of people working on the music. As far as soundtracks go, sure, there's going to be some wonderful ways to listen to this music. Right, Chris Wall?
Absolutely. The soundtrack's definitely going to happen. And in fact, fans, you've already heard music from season 1. So a lot of the music you hear on the live stream, a lot of the music that you're hearing in some of our trailers, that is music we're sampling from that team. So it's already getting out into the world. That's awesome. All right, next question.
What is your approach to combat in the series? For example, how fast-paced will the combat be, and what will be the gore levels?
Ooh, what will be the gore levels with combat? Ooh.
I thought he said goal levels, and I was like, wait,
Goal levels.
like a video game kind of?
He looks like he's a bit of a
levels.
LARPer, if I'm guessing.
Might be,
What's the combat levels? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's combat for sure. It's a big old sweeping fantasy novel. So yes, there's for sure sword play, and there will be battle scenes, that whole thing. I would say the gore level will be 0. There will be no gore. There may be hints of blood when a character is wounded, but we won't show anything visceral or awful. And like we said in the last Q&A, one of the nice things about the story that is kind of a serendipitous thing was that when the Fangs die in the books, they turn to dust, and so that is easier on the eyes than the alternative. And so yeah, we're thinking, as a parent, and Chris is the same way. Like we think through this stuff in light of the audience that's going to be watching this stuff. There's definitely a line that we're not going to cross when it comes to that.
Yeah. So we've talked about in TV ratings, it's probably going to be TV Y7 fantasy violence. So that's the kind of level that we're shooting for. It should feel it's PG to PG-13, kind of somewhere in that territory. My son was Andrew was talking earlier. He's like, is it going to be like WandaVision where the different episodes were rated differently? I don't know, like certain episodes are rated more intense. And I was like, I mean, you maybe, because certainly like the first number of episodes, there's not much in the fighting space, and then it's much more later, Yeah, that's a good question though. All right, next question.
Hi everyone, I'm Ella. At Patrick_Hughes285 asks, how big was the animation team, and what was the process of finding the style that you wanted the show to be animated in? Thanks!
That's awesome. Hey, Ella.
Hey.
So she is our animation coordinator, works with all of our animators, so she knows. We should have had her answer, because I'm not going to answer this right, but I think the answer is we started with a team of 12 animators, and I believe it is now 15. Man, I hope I got that right just now. So relatively small team for an animated series, but we've chosen over the whole production to go with a fewer number of artists working a little bit longer time, because you can really kind of get some consistency among your kind of artistic performance. You can scale that up and put more artists in there, and it just becomes more to manage, and it can sometimes cost you a little bit in kind of the creative choices you can make, because it does go faster. So yeah, that's that question. The animation style. Yeah. So Andrew, I know we've talked about this quite a bit, but the animation style is very specific. And this is inspired by, this abstract stuff, like the old stop motion, movies of old, right? Where there's a particular motion style and a way of animating. And that's brought us to this kind of abstract movement, right? Where it's not fluid and perfect like the, kind of our big feature films. The environments are abstract and the character movement is abstract. So the animation style, it's interesting. Andrew, I think I told you about this, but I was talking to Keith last week, and he was talking about really guiding the animators towards a more naturalistic animation style. That not doing cartoony movements or kind of animatory, he calls it, movements, but really keeping them in this real rooted and authentic, style of animation. And I think it lends well to the production design.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say that one of the wonderful things about this whole project has been that you and I were on the same page about how that we wanted it was you and I first, and then it was Keith Lango, and then as the team grew, everybody kind of caught the same vision that we didn't want to just do the same kind of animation that you see Disney and Pixar and everybody else doing, and it's beautiful. Obviously, I'm not throwing shade on that at all. But we were just like, is there another way? Trying to figure out, is there another way to do this that could be cost effective? Because we don't have some massive studio budget, but also in a way that makes that sets it apart from everything else that's out there. And one of the things that I remember Keith Lango saying was, he was talking about the art of books. I love that's like my go-to Christmas present for my son Aiden. As I find the next big animated movie, and I buy the art of book. So the art of whatever, fill in the blank, Brave, and you can flip through it and see all these amazing concept artists and all of their all the process that got them to where they're going. Pictures like the ones that you're seeing right now, just beautiful artwork that I almost love looking at the artwork more than I love watching the movie. And the question was, is there a way to keep that? How do we make the movie feel like the art of book, right? And so I just love the fact that we found it. And I remember we took some risks with the short film. It was like, okay, if we animate it with more like a stop motion feel, like an old school kind of thing, is it going to work? And right after we released our film, the Spider-Verse came out. Remember that? And it was like, oh, there it is. These guys, they did it. They pulled it off. And man, I kind of drooled over the way that movie looked and felt. And it kind of proved that it was possible to animate something that looks really beautiful and is different than kind of what we're used to seeing. And so, so yeah, that's where we kind of landed. I also love, like, even in this frame right now, the background, you can see the clouds above our heads, see the clouds and the trees. Like, you can see the brush strokes. And I think that's just beautiful. It's all handcrafted. So that's kind of, and I think we all geeked out over the same idea.
Yeah, and if you show something like this where there's a brush in the back and then have fluid motion in the animation up in the foreground, it feels bad. So the alternate is true, that if you do a really rounded character with shadow and kind of CG, modeled, and move that in full motion in front of this abstract, you can tell it's like a puppet acting in front of it. It doesn't work. So you have to find a way to get them to fit together. And that's both in movement and then how they're rendered. You see our characters when you see they're rendered more flatly, with less of the round kind of features, this kind of thing. Yeah, there you go. There's a lot going on in our animation style. We've had folks mention that and seeing the trailer, like, hey, this feels like it's moving differently. Is that intended? Yes. And it's a recipe that we've been cooking on for a long time. So.
And if you've never watched any of the movies that do that, like when you watch the trailer on YouTube, it can feel kind of like, oh, this is different. What's going on? But like as soon as you sit down and your mind settles into, oh, this is the way this looks, you don't even think about it anymore. Like you buy it. Just like when we were watching Looney Tunes as kids, same deal.
Yeah, it's a great note. Cool. Next question. These are awesome.
Hi, I'm Daniel, and I'm asking a very good question from S. Conrad. Will there be sea dragons?
Hey, Daniel.
I would just refer you to the trailer.
That's
the
right.
trailer.
They're right in the
next question.
Yeah, and I think, sea dragons, this is interesting, Andrew. We've had a lot of folks say, ooh, I love this series. Is it about dragons? No, in fact, the sea dragons play a part in the story, but it's not about dragons. In other words, How to Train Your Dragon is about dragons. Our series is about these kids. And in fact, the main creature we're going to interact with the most are the Fangs of Dang, which that name doesn't get old. The Fangs of Dang. And that's our primary villain, and the sea dragons play some influential part of that story over the full run, all 7 seasons, right? They are definitely influencing the story. But they are, I don't know, Andrew, they're in Lord of the Rings vernacular, our sea dragons are a bit more like the elves, maybe, where they kind of, the wood elves, where they kind of interject at times and they back out, they're a part of.
That's a good reference.
And they're neither hero nor villain. Like, they're just kind of, hey, you guys do your thing, right? The sea dragons are a little bit passive in many ways. So I think it's been something we talked about quite a bit, because people are like, I want to see more sea dragons. We're like, that's not our series. Our series is about the kids and how they're going to battle against the Fangs of Dang. So yeah, thanks, Daniel. Daniel is our artistic coordinator with the art department. He's awesome. Love that guy. All right, next question.
Hi. So I was wondering about Pete the Sockman. So he is my favorite character in the whole series, but I haven't really seen much of him in the trailers or behind the scenes stuff. So I was wondering if you're making him more of a not so important side character, or if he is going to be really important, but you just are keeping it all a big surprise.
Ooh, good question.
Yeah,
Very perceptive. Yes. I mean, you can't sideline Pete the Sockman. I mean, he's a big deal. So yeah, he is most definitely a big part of the story. And yes, when I was talking about episode 6 of season 1, that's one of the reasons I can't wait for it. He's going to show up well before that, but yeah, in the same way that he's a big part of book 1, he's a big part of season 1.
Yeah, and we've cast this wonderful actor Henry Ian Cusick, who many of you know from other shows, and we actually just recorded with him this week for episode 6. And he is so into the series, everybody. He is loving it, and he's loving what he's getting to do with Pete. One of the opportunities with Pete the Sock Man is that you get to explore a character who has some real mental trauma. And so some of you have seen characters on screen that are done well in that way, and some are done in ways that aren't good. And we're definitely trying to inform that character with a real sense of there's some comedy early on of Pete the Sock Man, kind of the silly guy in town. And then you get to understand his story, and there's a sadness there, and there's a grief, and there's something going on, but he's quite heroic at times, and there's a lot to unpack there. And it's been fun working with Ian, what he goes by, towards finding what Pete's voice is like and how he behaves. And yeah, Andrew, we had that session this week with him in episode 6, and some really touching moments that were pretty profound. As well as some really cool moments that are really actiony. And he really went with both. He talked about recording with us is such a workout, because a lot of times Pete is very physical, and he's like, I'm often sweating when we're done, because he just really pours himself into it. Yeah,
he's amazing. He's amazing. What a gift to have him on the show.
Yeah, totally. Okay, next question.
Hey, I'm Isaac. That's Lincoln and Bailey in front for the Arcade and Wild, and Sticky Panda 9976 has a question that we are also very curious about. When will the soundtrack be released?
Oh, those guys are amazing.
That is what it's like to be Wild. Yeah, and that's what it's like, right? To be in a van.
I mean, yes, you kind of live your life that way. I love seeing them doing that. They are some of the hardest working musicians I know. Like, I just saw their tour dates, which, by the way, go check out the Arcadian Wild online. They're on tour right now and have 1 million shows for the rest of the year. So chances are they're coming to your town. So please go see them. They're one of the best bands you will ever hear, seriously. And we're very privileged to have them working on the music. So I don't know about the release. Do you, Chris? Is there a plan
so the
right
goal
now?
Of the soundtrack would be, I think people have asked us about DVDs and other things like that. The goal would be to have that available simultaneous to the finale releasing. So sometime in the new year, I think we'd have that available to go out. We're certainly compiling information for how we're going to build that. There's a lot of really great tunes. And a couple of really great songs that we're excited to share with you guys. So, I think it'll be probably right as that like episode 6 is coming out. Yeah, cool. Nice question.
Hi, I'm Elijah. I assume The War in the Wolf King will take the most episodes to adapt. Will the Wingfeather Tales also be adapted, perhaps for season 7, or will just the original Wingfeather Saga books make it to the screen based on the team's current plans? I'd like to know what you guys say.
Good question, Elijah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting, Andrew, as we go later into it, if there's any side stories we want to fill in from Wingfeather Tales. As we sit here today, I don't think so. I think we've got plenty right here. But I could see some of those stories informing some choices, and in particular, I'm thinking about the wonderful story that your brother wrote about Poto as a young man, and how we might refer to some of that. Could be interesting, But I think the 4 books will fill us up,
Yeah, and if things are just going swimmingly, and in a few years we make it to season 7, and it's like, man, let's keep going and let's do another fun season of short stories or something like that. I mean, who knows what will happen?
Totally.
That's a pretty fun thought, but man, we've got our work cut out for us. Like if we can manage to tell all 7 seasons of this, we will have like run 7 marathons. So we'll figure that out when the time comes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much for all of your questions. Andrew, those were super fun. That was
great questions.
Quite a lineup.
Thanks.
Yeah. Really
so good to see all these friends and new faces. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do this again sometime, probably closer to during season 1, after we get a couple episodes under our belt, we'll come back and get some more questions from you guys. But in the meantime, like we said, we've got just a few more days on the funding round. You've heard all this about season 1. We're working hard on season 2. Pre-production is underway. We've currently raised $1.2 million. $5 million is the most we could raise in this round. 1.5 is what we're aiming for to get pre-production covered, so we can just keep getting through pre-production and setting up everything we need for season 2. And Andrew, I know you and I are looking a lot at season 2, talking a lot about the story inside there. And it's so hard because you and I know, oh my gosh, season 2 is amazing. And like we just before we hopped on this call with you all today, we saw a Gargan rockroach. Oh my gosh, people, we must make that guy come.
It will haunt my dreams. Yes.
Yeah. For all of you that are fans of Wingfeather Saga, we'd love you to come alongside. If you haven't been a part of our journey so far, you can go invest in our series. You can actually get buy shares. This is fun. We made this to show this earlier in the broadcast, but you can buy shares in our company and become an owner in Wingfeather Saga animated series. You're not just chipping in some money like Kickstarter. You're actually buying shares in our company. So you can learn a whole lot more about that at angel.com/wingfeather, angel.com/wingfeather. And we have lots of cool insight there and some cool perks that some people are going to get to participate in, including we have a big red carpet coming up here. Andrew, have you started looking at your outfit for that event?
Oh yeah. I'm going to make my own tux. That's my plan. out of leather. It's going to be real weird. No, I'm very excited. I have no idea what I'm going to wear, but I mean, a tux. We'll see. If you wear a tux, I'll wear a tux. How about that?
It'll be a tandem thing. Yeah, I know. Man, we're so excited to get to spend some time with you guys this evening, and thanks for taking time out of your day to hang with us for a bit. And we will see you soon. Probably again, for sure, I will on Wednesday as we wrap up our funding round. And then we've got some more stuff coming up for you in September. So thanks for taking the time. Andrew, good to see you, man. And
thanks, everybody. Good to see you too, Chris.
Bye.
Bye.